So, as the recording of this video, My Hero Academia Season 7 has concluded, and we now have a time frame of when the final season of My Hero Academia will be coming out, which is next year in 2025. And there's a lot that we really need to discuss about this. Because while we are told that it's going to happen in 2025, that's all the information that we really have about the final season of My Hero Academia. And with this in mind, and in this video, what I want to do is that I want to discuss the final season of My Hero Academia, specifically when it will be coming out, and potentially how many episodes this season will have. Yes, I am going to be doing my first thorough prediction video about the season, so let's just dive right into it. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Drew, and I'm here to do a discussion and prediction of when I think My Hero Academia Season 8, the final season, will come out. I have a general idea on when I believe that the season will be coming out, and I'm here to share it with you and give you my thoughts on why I came to this conclusion. So, before we dive right into this discussion and me kind of spoiling when the season is going to come out, I'd like to ask you, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more content like this. I try to make My Hero Academia videos at least once a week, and try to do more discussions on the series since it has ended. But with that, let's really talk about why I think I know when the final season is going to come out. For starters, let's talk about when we got the information about Season 8 or the final season of My Hero Academia. And we got this information released on both Twitter as well as the final episode of My Hero Academia Season 7, where it stated that My Hero Academia, the final season or Season 8, will be released next year in 2025. However, we do not get any specific dates, but I think that I know when most likely it will happen by using some trends from seasonal releases of anime, specifically My Hero Academia. And with this, I do think that I can thoroughly predict when the season of My Hero Academia will come out next year, as well as how many episodes will be in that season. And it will be all thanks to the seasonal release trends, as well as the trends seen in previous seasons of My Hero Academia. And I would dive more into potentially predicting the episode titles as a whole, but that can be its whole video on its own. So with that, let's start off with when I think My Hero Academia will air its final season, which I do believe will fall in fall 2025. And that I do believe that it's going to be around the first or second week of October, and to go with the specific date, it'll either start on the 4th or the 11th of October. So, how can I say this with this much certainty that the final season of My Hero Academia will be coming out at this specific time? Well, it all is dependent on the anime seasons when anime is released. And typically, within a year, if you don't know, anime is released in seasonal batches, and that it starts from winter to spring to summer to fall, and how it doesn't follow at least the traditional Western perspective of when seasons begin and end. Because, you know, if you learned in school, you're told that winter starts in December and ends in February. Spring starts in March and ends in May. Summer, where you had your summer vacation, is from June all the way to August, and fall starts from September all the way over to November. However, when it comes to the anime seasons, it's actually slightly different but very similar, where winter is the beginning part of the year from January to March, spring is starting from April all the way to June, summer is from August to September, and fall or autumn is from October to December. And while this may seem weird from a Westerner's perspective, especially from the Northern Hemisphere, we have to also take into account that seasons are not consistent with areas around the world. Some areas do not have the traditional 4-season structure, some have dry and wet seasons. But the fact is, this is how anime is released now when it comes to seasons, in both like the colloquial sense as well as seasons of anime. And now that we understand when these seasons are actually released in Japan, let's go more into when My Hero Academia has been released when it comes to this seasonal format. And we need to tackle the main trend of My Hero Academia seasons when it comes to Bones, the animation studio, is that they typically take a break after each season and do not continue or do not have the seasons run over multiple years. Typically, over the past 7 seasons, we've had a season of My Hero Academia each year, all starting in the spring season of 2016 for season 1, then spanning from spring to summer in 2017 for season 2. Season 3 is spring and summer of 2018. Season 4 came out the fall of 2019 and lasted until the spring of 2020. Season 5 started off in winter of 2021 and ended in summer of 2021. Season 6 came out fall 2020 and ended winter 2023. And Season 7, as you know, started spring 2024 and ended fall 2024. And if you notice from what we've seen with this trend, that the My Hero Academia seasons began to come out consistently in the spring until Season 3 ended. And everything changed when Season 4 came out, for one way or another. And you may be wondering what happened, and my idea in theory is that it's due to the fact that the numbers of chapters adapted during Season 3 and 4 are drastically different. And that it's because of this drastic difference in the chapters that led to the change in when My Hero Academia was usually released. And I'm going to go over why this is going to be very important, not just to determining what season is going to come out in, but as well as determining how many episodes are going to compose a season of My Hero Academia. So let's start by looking at how many chapters are adapted into episodes when it comes to each season. And pretty much to preface with how I came up with these numbers, I pretty much took the amount of chapters adapted and divided it by the amount of episodes per season. And because I did this, we're going to be going through a lot of numbers and a lot of math, so stay back, I'll go through it as quick as possible. Oh, why do I have to be decently good at math? Alright, here we go. So, Season 1 adapted approximately 21 chapters at a rate of 1.6 chapters per episode, as well as composing of 13 episodes for that season. Season 2 adopted 49 chapters at a rate of 1.96 chapters per episode and composed of 25 episodes as well as one recap episode. Season 3 adapted approximately 54 chapters at a rate of 2.16 chapters per episode, as well as composed of 25 episodes that season. Season 4 adapted approximately 68 chapters at a rate of 2.72 chapters per episode and was also composed of 25 episodes that season. Season 5 adapted approximately 68 chapters at a rate of 2.72 chapters per episode and also composed of 25 episodes. Have you noticed the pattern yet? Season 6 adapted approximately 70 chapters at a rate of 2.8 chapters per episode and also composed of 25 episodes. And Season 7 adapted approximately 69 chapters, nice, at a rate of 3.29 chapters per episode, with a total of 21 episodes with 4 recaps. And just to clarify, when I did these calculations, I did not include the recaps in the actual episode count for the season. And now, you may be wondering, why did you do all of this math? To show you that My Hero Academia has slightly increased their chapter per episode count, as well as the number of chapters adapted per season post Season 3, and yet Bones and everyone involved in My Hero Academia when it comes to creating the anime still has a pattern. And now that we know this information, I can thoroughly explain to you why I know when My Hero Academia will come out and how many episodes are going to be in it. And to put it simply, the math explains that a change slightly in how the anime has adapted the manga, in that in the first 3 seasons, the anime always came out in the spring of its respective anime season with a year gap between seasons. This changed in Season 4, which came out 1 year and 1 season after the previous season, and that the first episode of each season typically comes out the first week or the start of the anime Season 2. And how when it comes to this pattern, it seems to be consistent from season to season with the exception of Season 7 and Season 5. But Season 7 seems to break this pattern. However, we had 4 recap episodes that started in April, as the My Hero Academia season started on May 4th. You know, Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. And this is a series created by a man who is a huge Star Wars fan. Coincidence? I think not. So in this instance, if you included the recap episodes, it would have started at the beginning of the season. But then Season 5 is still the outlier, but we try to forget Season 5. And like I said, the only exception is Season 5. However, that season still takes over an entire year and 3 seasons to adapt. Very similar to Seasons 4, 6, and 7. So, the fact of the matter is that there is a pattern that you can see with Bones releasing the seasons of My Hero Academia, which is why I predict the final season will start during the fall season of 2025, but more specifically October 4th or 11th in 2025. And I know you may be thinking, wait 1 second, that doesn't make sense for the pattern that you established. Because the pattern, at least for the most recent seasons of My Hero Academia, when it comes to the pattern that you've listed so far, this season of My Hero Academia should actually be during the winter of 2026. Because from season 4, 5, 6, and 7, it took the anime 1 year and 1 season to actually release the next season. And how if you look at the dates as presented of when the animes began and ended, they all ended in 1 season, but the anime began in the next season after that previous season the next year. And while yes, I would say that typically it should have been in winter of 2026, which means that it actually would have taken place during the 1st or 2nd week of January, there are at least 3 things different with this season in comparison to the previous ones. First of all, it's the final season. So the pattern is just thrown out the window by the fact that it's the final season. But not really, and this ties into the second reason. The second being that we got the confirmation off the bat that it's going to be next year. And typically we do not get these type of confirmations. We are typically told that it will be coming back for X season. However, we really never get a specific year. And it's mostly due to the fact that Bones always takes time off for an anime season of about a year's time. And it typically takes either around that time to finish as well as planning the actual season as a whole, and rarely has My Hero Academia done seasons in less than a year's time. And there's no reason to assume that it will come out no earlier than fall 2025. And the third reason for why I do believe that it will be coming out fall 2025 and not winter 2026 is that My Hero Academia will be composed of 13 episodes most likely than not. And I would believe that this is most likely the case with a few pieces of information. For instance, the final season will cover approximately chapters 399 all the way to 430, the final chapter, which will give us approximately 32 chapters to adapt in a season, and that this will be the second lowest chapter count for a season ever since the first season. And the first season itself composed of 13 episodes. And if we assume that they will adapt at the average rate of chapters per episode as 2.5 chapters per episode, then the final season should be able to be composed and wrapped up in approximately 12.8 episodes or 13 episodes, very much like season 1, making it a full circle of the season 1 starting with 13 episodes and the final season also ending in 13 episodes, which is very thematic for the final chapter of My Hero Academia. If you know, you know. But here's the thing, unlike season 1, there will be a lower page count per episode because, for starters, Horikoshi has had shorter chapters the longer he's written the series, and that may not necessarily affect how many chapters are adapted per episode. It means that most likely the amount of content that we had in season 1 will be equivalent to how much content we will have in the final season. And how when it comes to this final season, we'll have a lot more action that needs to be animated versus what we got in season 1. And just due to the fact that the average chapter count has been increasing per episode per season, I do not see a reason why they will try to expand the season to be 25 episodes, such as with seasons 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Because we've seen in the previous season, season 7, that Bones is willing to decrease the number of episodes they'll have per season to end the season in a more satisfying and climactic way. And if they're willing to knock down season 7 from being 25 to 21, can also see them wrapping up the final season in 13 episodes. So yeah, this is my thought process and my explanation and the discussion for why I think that My Hero Academia will be released October 4th or 11th of 2025. And you know, I could always be wrong when it comes to following the numbers or patterns because you know, anime isn't a specific science. People can change. Things could pop up that could push the season back. We just don't know for certain, but I think that this is the best guess based off information that we've seen and observations that can be made over the past seasons of My Hero Academia and over the past years. But if this video is completely outdated by the time that I release it, just leave in the comments down below how wrong and inaccurate I was about this prediction. I would love to be proven wrong, but I think that I'm very right about this. But yeah, that's all I really have to say on this topic. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like and comment down below, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Now I have to try and predict the 13 episodes that I set up in this video. That's gonna be fun. See ya.